So, 100 days ago, I think, if I'm counting right, on Thursday, the 19th of March, was my first day not working at my regular day job. Um, and a couple days before that, a coworker of mine, when we were meeting for those last frantic meetings that week, when we realized we were going to have to close down and didn't really know what that would look like or what it would mean, and we were, the whole COVID-19 thing was just unfolding around us. The first case had just been identified in Newfoundland, and things were already starting to shut down. A coworker of mine said, so will we call this today? Will we call this day one when they look back and write the apocalyptic history of this time? And I was like, maybe. But for me, I decided that day one was going to be the first day that life wasn't normal, the first day that I wasn't going back to work. And that I would keep this video journal as kind of a record and also a way of just sort of telling whoever was watching how things were going for me and making some connections with people, talking about writing and teaching and just life in this weird time. And now it's 100 days later, and yesterday would have been my official last day of work anyway. It would in fact have been our year-end staff social that we have on the last Friday when school ends every year. And of course we didn't get to do that. So it seems like kind of an end to something. Definitely not an end to the COVID-19 pandemic, even though here in Newfoundland we have gone 30 days without a new case, which is amazing. We have no active cases in the province. 3 people have died, which was terrible, but we know we got off lightly compared to a lot of places. And we also know that with travel restrictions starting to open up, which is very controversial, obviously there are going to be more cases. We can't keep ourselves in a sealed off bubble forever, much as some of us would like to do that, or at least feel that we should be kept in a sealed off bubble quite a lot longer than we have been. But for me, it is kind of the end. It's the end of 100 days when I was supposed to be living a certain kind of life and had to switch to another kind. And probably the same for a lot of people. And now it's moving into summer, both calendar-wise and weather-wise, into the time when I would have been off work anyway. And so what I'm doing in the COVID-19 times in the summer of 2020, apart from, certain things not being open or not being available, but most things now are, and so it's not that different from probably what I would have been doing in summer 2020 anyway. I mean, my husband and I are not going on a European river cruise to celebrate our 25th anniversary, which we're supposed to be doing in August. We are not going to be having a big family reunion of my extended family, which was supposed to happen this summer with people coming from all over North America and around the world. That's not going to happen. So yeah, some things won't happen, but lots of other things will. I'll be spending time writing, as I would have anyway. We'll be going to our cabin, probably doing some staycationing here in Newfoundland. A lot of the things we would have normally done. And as I look back on these last 100 days, I couldn't have predicted any of it, but when school did shut down and we knew there was going to be an extended period of lockdown and quarantine and whatever you want to call it, some things were what I expected. I knew I would get some writing done. I would have anyway, but obviously without having to be on a regular schedule at work, I got more done, and that's great. As you know, got the first draft of the novel done and also the first draft of the play I'm writing, so that's fantastic. Some things were not what I expected. I thought I would do a lot of reading, and I did, but as you may remember if you watched some of these other videos, for about the first 10 weeks, all I could do was reread old favorites. Only recently I've been able to enjoy new books. I thought I was going to do some handcrafts, arts and crafts. I brought home my rug hooking from work. I haven't touched it. I've never opened the bag. I thought I would do a lot of TV and movie watching and catch up on things I'd wanted to see and series I'd wanted to finish. And for the most part, that didn't really happen. I have watched some of those theater at home live productions that have been on YouTube, which has been great. But for the most part, yeah, there's been, I don't know, either less time or less focus for that than I thought. On the other hand, I did not foretell that I would start learning Italian on Duolingo and really get into and enjoy that. Maybe more as a mind-sharpening game than with any thought of ever actually being able to speak Italian functionally. But it is an interesting way to keep my brain active. I knew that we would have to shut down the soup kitchen that we had been doing at church for the last several years, that my husband and I were running with the help of a lot of volunteers. I did not know that we would get some grants to transition in the COVID crisis to a food hamper delivery program, which has been really, really rewarding and a really interesting part of the last several weeks and will continue on throughout the summer. I knew that working from home for teaching was going to be difficult, and all I really want to say about that is that it has been in some ways much easier and in some ways much more difficult than I imagined. Switching to supposedly online learning when neither the teachers nor the students had any preparation or expectations about it, that was difficult. And I guess also I thought I was going to journal. I thought I was going to write a lot personally about this. And I did sort of keep a journal, but only sporadically. And as I look back through it, I see some of the most important things I didn't actually even write about. In a way, these videos kind of have been my journal, even though they've been public, not private. They have been, as I look back through them, they have kind of charted my course, and not just the course of my COVID hair, which I still haven't got cut, even though hairdressers have been open here for a while. But kind of taken me through the ups and downs, and hopefully some of the same for you. And so 100 days seems like a good place to stop this video project now. I have made it through what would have been the rest of the school year into the summer. I have finished the 2 writing projects, first drafts of them that I was working on. I have the summer months stretching ahead of me with more writing time and also prep time for the fall, because we still don't know what school is going to look like in the fall. And so I've got to be prepared for at least some online learning. And of course, lots of optimism about the COVID-19 situation, but also lots of fear because we don't know once we start reopening to the rest of the world how things are going to go. And that seems like a really good place to leave it, you know, because there are no definite conclusions in life. There are not many places where you get to draw a line under things and say, here, this is done. You pick an arbitrary point like 100 days and you say, I really enjoyed making these videos. Thanks for watching them, and stay safe and let's keep in touch.